Welcome to Books and Beyond with That Guy Jay. I am, of course, your host, That Guy Jay. Before we jump into this week's episode, if you could just take a minute to please like, share, subscribe, comment, send this to someone who may be interested in the fall season. We've got another fall episode today, but let's just jump right into it. A few episodes ago, I spoke about how excited I was for fall to start, and fall is here. So let's just do a almost mid-fall check-in and just kind of see how my fall has been going. I'm going to talk about what I've been reading, what I've been shooting with my camera, how I've been reading, how I've decided on my TBR/fall menu, complain a little bit about the weather because it doesn't feel like fall yet, and I'm a little upset about it. But anyways, let's just get into it. We may as well start with the weather. It's absolutely been too hot for fall. I love fall. I like that it cools off a little bit. I love a good excuse to throw on a hoodie, and I haven't worn a hoodie yet. We've only had a couple days that were actually chilly. I was just outside today before sunset, and it was 72 degrees. We're in the second half of October. That feels a little bit too warm. It was a beautiful day overall, though. I shouldn't complain too much. We haven't had too much bad weather, too much rain, things like that. But I'm really just ready for some chillier weather, and I want to be able to throw my hoodies on. I have a bunch of them. They're my favorite clothing. I'm still planning to get out there and do some fall activities. I do appreciate the bright blue skies and sunny days we've had. Just slightly chillier. Let's chill off a little bit, and it'd be fantastic. In terms of reading, I feel like I've been having a really good reading month. I started my spooky books a little bit early. I started in September, and I've already decided that my fall menu, that's what I was calling it, is going to extend through November because there's just so many books that I want to get to. The way that I have approached my fall menu is by using this here TBR jar. I wrote down, I believe it was 26 titles that were all fall related or felt like they gave fall vibes that I really wanted to get to. And they're just folded up on pieces of paper here. And I've just been pulling from this, and whatever comes out, that's what I've been reading. I'm not the type of person that can stick to a strict TBR. I don't know why. It just doesn't work for me. I'm way too much of a mood reader. I need to have options usually, and I like to be able to pick. I do usually have more than one book going at a time, just depending on the day and what I'm kind of in the mood for and what the vibes are. But I've been able to stick to this without issue. It's kind of interesting. I can't write out a list and be like, I'm going to write this. I'm going to read this book and then this book and then this book. That doesn't work. But leaving it to chance for some reason has been working fantastic. It also helps that I've been getting really good pulls. I've enjoyed all of the books that I've been pulling from this. The one thing that did kind of slow my progress, I believe in October I've read 5 books, which isn't terrible, but about the first 2 weeks were eaten up by this monstrosity. It is nearly 1,200 pages. I started this book years ago, and I got probably 250 pages into it, and I stopped. It wasn't anything like a DNF. It's just kind of like lifed, and I forgot about it. I wasn't reading as heavily back then. I wasn't as committed to the hobby. This time, I was set on finishing it. I've never completed this book, and I really wanted to get to it. It is such an iconic story. I've seen the movie. I have seen the 1980s miniseries, although I haven't seen that in a long time. The last time I probably saw that was when I was a teenager. I would like to revisit that. I was talking to my daughter, and she loves horror movies, and she has agreed to rewatch it with me. She has seen it before. Neither of us have seen the second It, so maybe we'll get to that eventually too. But while I did really enjoy this story, I do think it was a little bit too long. I think it definitely could have used a harsher edit. I think it probably could have fallen somewhere around like 800, 900 pages instead of almost 1,200. I think at times there was a little bit too much backstory. I did love feeling fully immersed in the town of Derry, Maine. I really did love the characters. The Loser Club is a club I will always think of fondly. They were a fantastic set of characters, and we really got to know them as children, and we also got to know them as adults. But again, some of the town's backstory just went a little bit too in-depth, and there were parts of the book that dragged, and I think that's why it took me almost 2 weeks to complete it. It is a ton of pages. I think ultimately 2 weeks isn't terrible for a book this big. It's about the equivalent of 3 to 4 more average length novels. So, yeah, I guess that's something. But other than that, I've had some great pulls. I have read some Dark Academia, which I wanted to get into this fall, and I'm happy about that. I read some extreme horror, which I haven't read a ton of that before, and that was kind of interesting. I'm not 100% sure that's for me, but a lot of those are like novellas, and they kind of, you can squeeze them in here and there. I read Womb, which was under 200 pages, and I read it in a single sitting. I sat down and read it in about 2.5 hours, and it is wild, let me tell you. Um, I don't think that it shocked me in a way that like made me uncomfortable, but I think it would for a lot of people. I think I just have a high tolerance for that kind of stuff. But moving forward with the reading, like I said, I had 26 titles that I put in here, and there's still quite a bit left. For those watching, you can see. For those listening, I think there's probably about 18 in here still. I don't know if I'll fully complete the TBR jar by the end of November, but I am going to stick with it. There's a few books that I didn't add to it, like it, because I just knew that I wanted to get to them. And there are 2 more for sure reads that I want to get to this fall. I want to read Slewfoot. I've heard amazing things about that. It's set in New England, which, being from New England, I'm instantly interested in that. And it's set, I believe, in the 1700s or maybe even 1600s. I forget, but it seems like a really cool story. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm very excited about that. And I also want to read The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which is Dark Academia. It's another chunky book, though. It's another big commitment, but I've also heard some fantastic things about that. I've heard some people didn't love it, but a lot of people have. A lot of people that I feel like I share taste with. And some people say that that's kind of like one of the golden standard for Dark Academia, and I'm real excited to check that out. So on the reading front, fall is going fantastic. I'm not usually a seasonal reader. I don't read my books based on the season, but I noticed the last couple years, just just subconsciously, October automatically pulled me into wanting to read the spooky books. So this year, I just thought I would fully lean into it, like I believe I said in a previous episode. I'm also checking out Dark Academia, which I had never done before, but that's definitely fall vibes. Not every book in there is scary, but a lot of them are. My current read is A Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I read 50% of that yesterday, and I started it yesterday, I believe. Actually, I think I might have read a tiny bit. I read like 20 pages Friday night. So far, I'm definitely enjoying it. It's very interesting to be reading Joe Hill so close to having just read one of Stephen King's most iconic books, because for those who may be unaware, Joe Hill is one of Stephen King's sons. So far, I'm definitely noticing some similarities in the writing style. I think there's just some similarities maybe in the word choices and kind of the overall prose, but I wouldn't say that he's a copy of his dad by any means. This is a very interesting story. I have one other one by him in the TBR jar that I would love to get to as well. So yeah, with reading, I'm just plugging away. I'm having a fantastic time with all of these fall books, and things have been great. One of the other things that I had mentioned that I really wanted to do this fall was get out and shoot more with my camera, and I haven't done the best job with that. Part of that is the weather. It's still been pretty hot, and I just haven't had as many opportunities as I would have liked. But I did get out earlier today to shoot. I'm filming this on Sunday, the day before it comes out. I'm filming this a little bit later than I had planned because I went out to shoot for a little while. I found a very cool spot not far from my apartment. It is literally right on the Hudson River, and the views are absolutely beautiful. Like I said, I was there just before sunset, and I got a few days ago a new lens for my camera. For those who don't remember, I have a Fujifilm XS20, and I got the Tamron 18 to 300 super zoom lens. I am so stoked on this lens. Today was my first time really getting a chance to shoot with it. I took a couple of test shots the day it came. I did get this used from a site called MPB, not a sponsor, but would love to be. They sell used camera gear and cameras, and I was able to actually trade in the kit lens that came with the camera, and that brought down the price on this a little bit, and this was used, so it was a fantastic deal. This isn't the highest quality lens. This by no means is like a pro level lens. This is definitely a consumer lens. It's not a fast lens, and for those who aren't familiar with photography, that just has to do with the aperture. It doesn't allow the most light in like some pro lenses do, and it's what's called a variable aperture. So the lowest possible aperture, actually changes as you zoom in. So as you zoom in, it actually gets a little bit slower, as they say. But in my test so far, it's plenty sharp. I love having the super zoom capabilities because in my arsenal right now, I have just a couple of prime lenses. Prime lenses are non zoom lenses, they are just one focal length the whole time. And the advantage of prime lenses is that they are very fast. They allow a ton of light. That's how you can get those really blurry backgrounds. But the disadvantage is you are stuck with that one focal length. So being able to zoom in has been amazing. And this could zoom enough that I was actually able to get a picture of a house with some changing leaves behind it that was actually on the other side of the river. It was over in New Jersey, and I got a picture of it, which was really cool. And I was able to capture pictures of some seagulls and different birds that were hanging out down by the river. And the majority of my photography experience is when I lived in the city, and I took my camera everywhere with me, and I did most of my shooting on my commutes to and from work because I would walk cross town every day in uptown Manhattan. I would walk through Central Park. So the vast majority of my shooting experience is street photography. So just even taking some pictures of some seagulls was new for me. And it was kind of cool to dip my toes into a little bit of nature photography and some slight birding, which is something that I would definitely be interested in trying more in the future. It was a lot of fun. I still have a lot to learn with the lens, and I need some practice to get better at, tracking moving shots with like, flying seagulls and things like that. One thing I am proud of myself for, though, I don't know how it came out yet. I haven't even plugged this into the computer. We will find out, and I'll probably do nothing with it. It's just going to be for me to practice with. But I took a bunch of video clips. The main reason I got the XS20 from Fujifilm is because this is what's called a hybrid camera. A lot of cameras are set up to be either very strong with photos and weaker with video, or very strong with video but weaker when it comes to still images. A hybrid camera is very good at both but great at neither, kind of. This is still a very capable stills camera, and it's a very capable video camera as well. But if you wanted to specialize down, you could find a Fujifilm or especially a Sony that is better at one particular thing or the other. But I got the hybrid because I really want to learn how to do videography better. I haven't ever done much videography, and it's kind of an important skill to have nowadays, I think. And it's a little bit the way of the future with social media and things like that. Instagram used to be only for stills, but now it's definitely more video focused. I've really loved my content creation journey with this podcast, and especially with my TikTok, and all of these things are video centric, and I need to get better at it. So I got some shots today, just some static shots, and figuring out how to be still and how to use the image stabilization of the camera. And yeah, I can't wait to get it into DaVinci Resolve and mess around with some color grading, which I've never really done much of. I started learning DaVinci Resolve, one, because it was free, and two, because it's supposed to be the best at color grading. I shot this in F-Log, which means that initially it's going to be very flat, and then it's kind of up to me with the color grading to make it pop and bring it to life. And I can't wait to learn how to do that. As of now, I know some very basic like color correction things. Like I know how to change the color temperature to make things look warmer or cooler, to make it look more natural depending on the lighting that's available. But I know that it's such a deep well. There's so much you can do with color grading. And I've watched some tutorials from some amazing people that can really make a cinematic looking video file from something that looks super flat right out of camera. It's very cool, and it's something that I want to continue to work on and continue to grow and learn about that. And I think with this lens, I'm going to be doing more of that. I'm really excited to have this lens, and I'm really still excited for fall. The leaves are just really starting to change colors, and I can't wait to go out and find some spots where I can get some fantastic images of the changing leaves. I'm already planning directly across from my apartment is the Palisades in New Jersey, and it is full of trees. So I'm going to be using this to zoom all the way in, and maybe I'll start taking a daily photo so that I can make a time lapse to show the difference of the changing of leaves. But also on the top of the Palisades, there's a highway, and I know that there are some scenic overlooks. So one of these days, once the leaves get all orange, I'm going to take a little ride and pull into some of these scenic overlooks and explore a little and hopefully get some great shots. I can't wait to try. And I think this is also a good opportunity to talk about something that I want to try and do. I recently started following someone on TikTok, and her account is primarily photography focused. She shoots a lot of film, but she also does digital. Anyway, I came across one of her posts, and she is on day 248 of a 365-day challenge. And basically, the challenge is just to pick up your camera and take some photos every day. I love that idea. I really want to get to know this camera better. I have been shooting in manual mode. That came back to me. A lot of the stuff that I knew from my previous Canon, but I did go years without shooting, so I was a bit rusty. And like I said, I really want to improve. I love photography. It is a fantastic creative outlet. It's probably the most artistic thing that I am able to do. I'm not someone who can draw or paint. I just don't have the skills for that. I suppose I could probably improve if I practiced more, but this is the medium that I really enjoy. I really love being behind the lens. I love trying to figure out photography. And I think that if I start a challenge like this, it's going to help me improve exponentially. Oh, hey, Simba. Say hello to everybody. I guess you're in this podcast episode too. You like to jump into my live stream, so why not the podcast? Anyway, I just think that a challenge like that is a fantastic opportunity to improve, and it is a great reason to have to pick up my camera every day. It also motivates me to get out of the house, even if it's just going to my building's courtyard. As I have mentioned before, I do have a disability, and walking is tough for me, so sometimes I do kind of just get stuck in my room. And there are days where I'm not really capable of walking too much, and it might just be a struggle to get to the courtyard. But hopefully soon I'll have my balcony back, and that's going to be a fantastic spot to take photos from, and that'll make the photo challenge a little bit easier. But I'm going to count tomorrow as day one. Tomorrow will be day one of this new photo challenge. I guess I could technically count today because I shot today, but I didn't think of it until about an hour ago. I saw the video yesterday, and it kind of was floating around my subconscious. But tomorrow will be day one of my 365-day photo challenge. I can't wait to see where I am next October in terms of my skills. I think that it's going to help me improve a ton. And like I said, I'm not going to make a challenge with the videography other than I'm already trying to challenge myself to do it more. But I don't think that that's something I'm going to do every day. I think I'll just stick to the still images for now. I do have one big photo project that I would like to get to this fall. I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet, but I'm still going to work on it, and I still think I have plenty of time. I want to get to all of the neighborhoods where I've lived in the past. I think I talked about this before. And I want to shoot the buildings and the areas that my daughter lived growing up that she doesn't remember. So that'll take me to Manhattan. That'll take me to the Bronx. And I think it'll be really fun. I'd like to get her involved with that. She does have her own camera now. She has a Canon 5D Classic with a nifty 50. She's only done a little bit of shooting. She's still learning, but I think it'd be really fun to get her out with me, and she can learn a little bit about photography as we shoot the areas that she doesn't remember. And the plan there is, I don't think she watches these episodes, so I think I'm safe here. But the plan is I want to make that into a photo book and have that be her Christmas present. I'm very excited about that. And on top of that, I have a bunch of empty walls in my house, and I think it's finally going to be time where I'm going to go through all of the images I've taken so far with this camera, pick out a few of them, and get them, actually printed. I think there's something to printing your work and seeing it on more than just a computer screen. So get some 5x7s, some 8x10s, get some frames, and start filling up some of my walls with my own work instead of just having blank, empty walls. I think that would look really cool. But overall, photography is definitely one of my big priorities this fall, other than my reading, and I can't wait to get out and keep shooting. Other than that, I've been trying to squeeze in some horror movies. Like I've mentioned before, my daughter loves horror, so always trying to get her to watch some movies with me. She really loves low budget, B-level, terrible horror movies. She thinks that they are hilarious and so fun. So if you could do me a favor and leave a comment down below of one of the cheesiest horror movies you've ever seen, and I can make a list to suggest to her and we can try and check them out. Or in general, just leave your favorite horror movie you've ever seen in the comments and I can suggest those to her. We have a tradition every Halloween that we're going to stick to this year where we just get some pizza and candy and we set up a blanket on the floor, make it like a picnic, and watch horror movies on Halloween. She's never been real big into wanting to go trick or treating, and she's 16 now, so I doubt she would be interested this year. If she wants to go, I'm more than down to go. She was supposed to pick a family theme for costumes. I don't think she's done that yet. I'll have to check in with her. That could be fun too, just to dress up for the heck of it, maybe go take some pictures. In driving around to do errands in the last week or so, I've noticed that most people have gotten their Halloween decorations up. There's some very cool houses near me. I've even seen on Instagram in my general area some houses that are heavily decorated. There's one house, I think it's like one city over technically, and they have 25-foot inflatable horror characters in their yard. I want to go check that out. I think a couple times that's going to be the plan, is just get out after dark and go for rides to look at decorated houses. I can do that. I can be in a car. Like I said, walking around can be a struggle sometimes, but I can certainly drive around and look at the cool decorations, maybe even bring the camera and try and get some pictures of the better ones. But I think that's about it for my fall check-in. It's going great so far. Like I said, fall is my favorite season. Always has been, always will be. I do wish it was a little bit colder out. I would love some, 60-degree days instead of mid-70s, but what can you do? It could be worse, right? It could be freezing cold, and I wouldn't love that either. So I guess I'll stop complaining now. But I'm so curious to hear how your guys' fall is going. What are you reading? What are your favorite fall activities? Please let me know down in the comments. And like I said, if you could take a second to like, share, subscribe, and if you could especially leave any kind of review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that goes a really long way to helping the podcast get more visibility in the algorithm. But thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your week to join me again on Books and Beyond with That Guy Jay. I will see you next week.